Things you'll need to do this job: you'll need a 600 grit sandpaper, that's to start off. Then once you're done with the 600, you're going to move on to an 800 grit, and for the final bit of sanding you're going to use a 1200 grit. Also, other stuff you'll need for this job is the clear coat you're going to use, and also the masking paper that you'll use for the areas you don't want the clear coat to go on. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to repair the clear coat peel that happens on your cars. First of all, you got to mask the areas that you don't want the sandpaper to accidentally hit. For example, I've got the black runoff strip here, and I've got the window trim here, and I don't want to accidentally scuff that when I'm sanding, so I will mask this off. Basically going to be sanding this area and this area. Going to go run past this to make it nice and flush and smooth. First of all, we're going to start off with the 600 grit just to get the general ridges out, and then we're going to slowly work our way down the grit sizes. We'll start with 600, then 800, and then finish it off with 12 to have that nice smooth finish, and hopefully all these ridges will be gone. Alright, let's begin. Work your way in a backwards and forwards motion. And what this is doing is just fining it out. It was a little bit too rough, and it's come a little bit of the colour's been scuffed, but I can just touch that up with a spray can before we clear coat. So I'm just going to go on to the 800 grit now. So now I'm using the 1200 grit. I'm just going to lightly sand just past the area, just smooth out these ridges as much as I can. Try not to go on the colour surface, the surface that's been exposed, because you will, as I've done here, scratch it up and they'll bring it back to the primer underneath, and you do not want to do that. Otherwise you're going to have to touch it up like I'm going to have to do. And yeah, you just smooth out these ridges. Has ended and peeled to where there's still some clear coat, just smooth it all out. Out most of the ridges till they're nice and smooth. You just run your hands over so you can feel it. And I'm just with the 1200, now I'm just going to give it a clean, give it a nice wipe. You can see the murky bit here, this is just a scuffed up original clear coat. You want to go past a little bit, still got a little bit of high bits here, so I'm just going to do a little bit more sanding just to get them a little bit more smoother. Because I've scuffed up the paint a little bit, I'm going to have to go over some red, otherwise that'll show through in the clear later on and it'll look ugly. What you want to do is just scuff up a little bit of the surrounding areas just past your bit that you're repairing, just so when you do the spray you can just evenly go right across it. And by scuffing up the original clear coat, it's going to allow the new clear coat to adhere better. Just do it on both sides. Doesn't have to be much, just use the 1200, just go past on both sides, run it across, run your fingers across any little bit of high parts, like all here is good, there's a little bit of a high part here, do a little bit more sanding, and don't put too much pressure, otherwise you're going to scuff up the colour paint underneath. Okay, as you can see, I've got rid of all the deep ridges. You can just see the perimeter, but it's quite smooth. The little bit of whites is the primer underneath the base coat. Unfortunately, I didn't realise that the coats on these cars are quite thin and just scuffed a little bit in certain areas. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the old masking tape off because it's all wet, put some new masking tape and some new paper on, and just touch it up with a little bit of red. Once you've taken the old masking tape off, just make sure you give it a nice dry off, because there'll be a little bit of trapped water. So just get your microfiber cloth and just dry it all off around the seams and stuff before you put the new stuff on. Lucky today's a hot day, so it's drying quite quick. But yeah, you want to make sure everything's nice and dry, nice and clean. before you start masking up. So with the power of editing, the area is now masked. I've also done while I was masking off this, I also did a little paint swatch just to make sure the colour that I've got here to touch up those little scuff marks, it's going to be very similar or the same as the colour of the car. So I've got the paint swatch there. I'm just going to like put it close to the car and make sure that the red is the same, which does look pretty similar, so that's good. Just put it on another part of the car just to make sure that it's pretty similar, which looks pretty grouse. I've got my can here, can of colour. All I'm going to do is just do a light coat along the area where it's being stripped of the clear coat, just to get those little white parts that as you can see, bring you closer, these little white parts that have been scuffed up. That's just a primer coat underneath. So I'll just do that now. The first coat's just going to be a gentle dust. You don't want to go too strong with the flow of the paint can. You don't want to go full tip, because if you do that, it's going to start runs in your paint, and you don't want that. So you just do a quick brush over with it, let that cure, and then do another coat a little bit later in about 10 minutes. So it's been about an hour since I sprayed this paint. I just let it harden enough so I can start sanding. I had to go and get some 1500 grit and also 2000 grit sandpaper, just because I found the earlier ones were a bit too rough on the paint, so I don't want to scratch this new colour down again. So I'm just going to do a light sand on it just to get all the orange peel out and the ridges from where it was masked up, and then we'll be away for the clear coat. So same process. Soapy water, and just lightly go over it. Just till it goes smooth, which is not taking long at all. Just running my finger over it just to make sure it's all smooth. Feels pretty good. Alright, I'm just gonna wipe off this area, make sure it's all dry, and then we'll mask it off and get it ready for the clear coat. So I'm just drying off the area with a microfiber cloth. It's quite a warm day, so it's drying pretty quick. I'm also going to give just a damp cloth another wipe, just get any little bit of dirt, any bit of colour that's been sanded off away. Give it another dry down. Make sure it's fully dry. I'm also going to use a hairdryer just to dry all the little seam bits. You don't want any water in the gaps before you start painting, so I'm just going to do that just to make sure it's completely dry before I start masking it up. It's all nice and dry. Waited for it to dry a little bit in the sun as well. Plus I used the hairdryer just to make sure all the edges, all in here, all the little channels were dry, just so it doesn't react with the clear coat when I put it on. You want to make sure there's no water anywhere. Once that was all dry, I have masked the whole area. I've gone a little bit further past the area too, just to stop the overspray. And I've given this another wipe down, gone over it with the microfiber cloth, waited for it to dry, and now I'm ready to spray my clear coat. You just want to do a slight dust layer, just to sort of like to spread it out. You're going to go past the area that you've sanded down, just slightly past each side of it. Yeah, all you're doing is just dusting. Not too thick, you hold it about 25 centimeters away from it, and just a slight dust. And you're going to wait about 10 minutes till the next coat, just let it all dry. So I've put 3 coats on this so far. As you can see, it's looking pretty good. I'm just about to put the 4th coat on now, and then give it 24 hours, so it'll be tomorrow. I'll give it a nice fine sand just to stop the little bit of the orange peel and stuff that's come up, and then I'll do a soft to medium compound on it and give that a work through, and yeah, so without further ado, we'll do the last coat now. This coat is a little bit thicker. This is the last coat, so I'm just being a little bit more heavy on it. Okay, so I've sprayed that. Now I'm just going to get the heat gun and just run that over it, just to warm up the panel a bit, give it a bit of a helping hand for it to dry a little bit. And you'll get your compound, a damp microfiber cloth. Put a little bit of your compound on the cloth, just like that. And all you're going to do is just rub it into the new surface. Just in a swirling motion all over it. So after you've put the rubbing compound on, you'll get another microfiber cloth, a clean one, and all you're going to do is you're just going to wipe away all the excess compound, so all the dry stuff that dries, it's like a white film. You just wipe all that away, get it all off, get it nice and clean. Any excess compound, just get it out of the grooves everywhere. So for the final stage, I'm going to give the car a whole wash and wax. This is what I'm using. Just a simple, detergent that says wash and wax on it, easy peasy. You just mix it with a bit of water and away you go. So I'm just going to go over the area, as you can see here, just give it a clean. This will help give a shine back to the paint. And we'll get all the little bits of compound that may be still on the paint. The whole area has been done. Give it a hose off, and look at that, just like magic. See the shine already. I'm just going to wait for this to dry, and I'll show you the end result. So after the wash and wax, this is how the car's turned out. It's all dry now, as you can see. There's a nice even flow of red right along. The area here was where the clear coat had peeled. As you can see, it's nice and blended in now. And it's got a nice shine to it. Matches the rest of the car. I'm quite happy with the results. Hope this helps you guys, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you all guys in the next one. Bye for now.